get in the notification, but yeah, welcome to the Spaceport Galley. The Galley in the Galley, I guess you could call it. But no, today we will be doing our first sponsored stream. We're actually doing our first sponsored stream, of course, with HelloFresh. You guys very well know here on the channel that I love HelloFresh. I've been using their service now for, oh God, almost a year, I think I want to say. And I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. It's great meals, great food, easy to cook, and the price point is a lot better than even what you would pay at the grocery store. So I hope that you will join us on this fun culinary adventure. And of course, being that this is a sponsored stream, if you'd like to join HelloFresh yourself, there is a handy dandy little panel down on the page there where you can join yourself, get a free discount, free box, and also a free breakfast item in each box that you subscribe to for life. That's a heck of a deal. Trust me, their food cannot be beat. So it's gonna be a good time. If we have someone poking up in the chat.
Actually, yeah, MadWookie98 said #add LOL and hello.
Hi Wookie, how are you doing, friend? As you can see, we are going to be actually cooking on today's first stream of two. We're going to be preparing our HelloFresh meal, which tonight is going to be honey thyme pork fillets with roasted potatoes and broccoli. Absolutely delicious meal. Looks absolutely gorgeous. So we've already done a lot of the prep in advance, just to kind of help save you guys some sanity, and also myself. Because honestly, who wants to sit there and watch me chop potatoes for half an hour? But no, this is a great meal. We're going to be making the 4-person serving size for this particular meal. So let's go ahead and go into the actual galley area and go over today's ingredients.
Also,
right.
MadWookie would like to say that they are okay. They say that they are hoping that you are well. And Lunandriel, oh hi, Julia Child.
Hello and welcome. No, I can't do her voice any kind of justice. Anyway, let's go over today's ingredients. All right, so we have, of course, we've got our seasoning, salt and pepper, very easy. We've got some olive oil in a spritzer to help keep everything fairly healthy. We have about 1.5 cloves of garlic. The recipe itself calls for 1 clove, but let's face it, more garlic is always better. We have some dried thyme in a perfectly portioned packet that that HelloFresh has provided us. 4 packets of chicken condensed stock. 2 packets of honey. We have about 16 ounces of broccoli florets already washed and drained. About 24 ounces of golden potatoes already chopped into small bite-sized pieces. And we have, of course, our 4 pork chops already rinsed, mostly trimmed of the excess fat, and of course patted dry. So now we're going to go ahead and just put our instructions up here, handy dandy. Go ahead and let's get a shot of those instructions. So as you can see on the instruction sheet with HelloFresh, they make it really super simple. They walk you through every single step, let you know what you need to be doing, and just in order so that it all comes out usually mostly at the same time. But so as you can see, we're also going to need 2 baking sheets, which we already have prepared. 1 for our potatoes and 1 for our pork chops and broccoli. We have our large pan for our sauce and searing our pork chops. Of course, paper towels, aluminum foil, which we've already put on the pan. And then these are, of course, they also let you know what extra ingredients they don't provide that you might need for each recipe. So as you can see, they've got cooking oil, olive oil, salt and pepper, which we already mentioned we had, and of course butter, which we have over to the side in our handy dandy protective dish. So let's go ahead and start the first step. We've already adjusted the racks to, oh, no we didn't. Somebody was in here before me.
It's
All
okay,
right,
it's okay.
So,
Renegade is also in the chat. They say, gasp, sponsored stream.
sponsored stream, hashtag actually sponsored this time. All right, so we have our racks at our top and middle positions as per our directions. We are going to set our oven to 450 degrees and get that started on preheating. All right, so as you can see, we've already diced our potatoes into our pieces, nice and delicious. We've already also rinsed them of extra starch and made sure that they are well drained. We're going to go ahead and take our large baking sheet here, and we're going to prepare it with a little spritz. Come on, if my spritzer will work.
Renegade says, whoa, and hashtag so proud. And Mad Wookie says, we're in the big leagues now, Ren.
Come on, spritzer. This thing, I swear to God.
The fact that it doesn't want to spritz.
I know, hashtag pro streamer as well.
Right, hashtag pro streamer, guys.
Oh, for heaven's sake. All right, fine, we'll do this the messy, not so healthy, and
Please help.
not so much fun way. All right, so we will just take our giant thing of olive oil. We'll
Ooh,
put a
actually
nice
spread
little
it.
Spread over there.
Spread
Where's
it.
my brush?
It's right here.
All right, so we're just gonna put a layer of olive oil down here on our foil, just to make sure that we have a nice non-stick surface on our foil, because nobody wants sticky potatoes on their foil, trust me.
Been
All
there,
right.
done that, don't want to do it again.
So we'll just set that over to the side. We're going to go ahead and just dump all of our potatoes onto our sheet and just kind of spread everything out, because then we're going to take this off because I'm not going to get the big giant thing anymore.
She's like, I'm not doing this.
I am not playing these games. Okay. Are you going to work this time? Maybe it was too tight. No, it just doesn't like me. Okay, fine. Screw you.
We'll do this our own way.
All right, so we're just gonna drizzle a little bit of olive oil over our potatoes, because we want to make sure that they're all coated with deliciousness. A little bit more there. Okay. I'm gonna have to replace that. Hashtag things I need for stream. All right, so then we're also going to take some pink Himalayan sea salt. I'm just gonna grind that. Nice gentle coating over our potatoes. And same with our black pepper. Nice grinder. Grind some pepper over the top of these bad boys. All right, now here's where it gets a little bit fun. We want to, of course, make sure that all of our potatoes are well coated in both oil and seasoning. So we just kind of come in here and we just kind of play around with them, mix them up, get them all nice and coated. Of course, first step to all of this, by the way, don't ever forget, wash your hands. Safety and sanitation first, everybody. Hashtag pro streamer, potatoes lost.
Oh no!
Pro chef, pro streamer, I'm just 100% pro all over the place. All right, so once you get your potatoes nice and coated in your olive oil and your salt and your pepper, just kind of spread them all out in a nice little flat layer, or as flat as you can get on your sheet there.
Wookie says a good cook washes their hands. Renegade says, man down! Lenadriel says, potato down! You ruins it!
I ruined it!
Puzzle the Dragon! They've subscribed at tier 1
Puzzle, thank you so much for that sub, my friend.
for 17 months. Currently on a 17-month streak, actually.
Nice! Thank you so much. So generous of you, Puzzle.
And Vamp Rose is here. Pokes head out of the ceiling at the sight of food.
All right, let's go ahead and let's clean up our mess. Ugh.
Oh, that poor mess.
And I just
Anyway.
washed my hands, but guess what? I'm gonna do it again.
Anywho, if you guys want to take a good quick look at these potatoes, as you can see.
So of course those are waiting for the oven to finish preheating, and then we'll pop those in as per our instructions up here. Roast on top rack, tossing halfway through, which is a step honestly I always forget, until lightly browned and tender, approximately 20 to 25 minutes. So up here where we are in Southern California, well, I should say down here where we are in Southern California, I have noticed though that I need to leave them in a little bit extra time because of my elevation. So just be advised that wherever you are, your cook times may adjust depending on your the heat of your oven, your elevation, and just, well, sometimes the look of the universe. So
Puzzle says, "This looks delicious. I need me some HelloFresh."
absolutely. And one of the things I want to talk about is every week you get the option to select your meals. Now, my family, we do 5 meals a week for 4 people. And so every week I go onto the HelloFresh app, I make my selections. There's usually at least 30 to 40 really delicious recipes on their app. Now, this ranges from Carb Smart, Protein Smart, even vegan and vegetarian options. They've got pescatarian options. So they've got literally everything ranging from fish, chicken, pork. You can sometimes swap out a different protein for a meal. So for example, if you wanted to do, on this one, the honey thyme pork fillets, you can actually see here that chicken is actually an option in the instructions. So swap in chicken for pork, cook until browned, etc., etc. So if you wanted to do something even healthier than what is offered, there are protein options for each of the meals as well. You can even sometimes swap out your sides. For example, this week we got broccoli, but sometimes you can choose, you can choose potatoes if it's not already included in the recipe. You can choose green beans, Brussels sprouts. They have a lot of options, and they're all really good, really fresh, and really healthy. I've even actually managed to get my younger teenager, who is a notoriously picky eater, to eat Brussels sprouts. So that alone is worth the endorsement. All right, so we're already at 415 on our preheated oven. We've still got about a few more degrees to go, so we'll give it a little more extra time. In the meantime, let's go ahead and take a look at our instructions for our next step. So while potatoes roast, pat pork dry with paper towels and season all over with salt and pepper. Heat a drizzle of oil in a large pan over medium heat. Add pork and sear, turning occasionally until browned all over. This should take about 4 to 8 minutes. Meanwhile, peel and mince half the garlic, or all for 4 servings. And once pork is brown, transfer to one side of a second baking sheet. So, as you can see, we have already done the step of rinsing and patting dry our pork. I've also gone through and trimmed some of the excess fat to make sure that it's even more healthy. So we'll go ahead and get started on the seasoning. So we'll start with some salt.
Lunadriel says, "I like your makeup today. You're so pretty."
Oh, thank you. All right, so some salt and some pepper. Hold on, I want to double check. I like to read ahead sometimes a little bit and see where exactly some of the seasonings come in. So, because I have not seen the thyme. Oh, the thyme goes in the sauce. Okay, perfect. All right, so we'll just continue on with putting some salt and pepper on our pork chops.
Renegade said, "Is that our Dark Lord on a cutting board?"
It is, and he finds the lack of cheese in this recipe disturbing. All right, so I like to pat in my salt and pepper into the meat just to make sure that, one, it sticks to the meat, and also just kind of gets into the flesh of the pork chop a little bit more to really make sure that that flavor gets in there. So,
well, he's right.
Absolutely. All right, let's go ahead and flip over to the other side and repeat. A little more salt.
Okay, I need a shower. Sinus is killing me today. BRB. Poor Renegade.
Oh, poor Ren. Well, enjoy your lurk, my friend, and I hope that your sinuses clear up.
Indeed.
All right, so let's go ahead and just again pat that into the meat. Get it nice and spread over everything. All right, and we will let that sit off to the side here while we get our cutting board prepared for our garlic. All right, so now of course we're going to peel and mince the garlic. So what we're gonna do is over here, easiest thing to do when you've still got the husk on the garlic, just with the flat of your knife, pop, there you go.
Why did you sound like the kid from Subway Surfers when he gets hit by a train?
I mean, it's better than my Emerald, Lagasse impression. Bam! Yeah. Either one of them suck, so.
Well, no, I just thought it was really funny.
All right, so that just makes the paper come off nice and easy, exposing the meat of the garlic clove. All right, and now, you know what, no, I'm not doing this the hard way. Where is it? I have a tool for this. Also gonna need those. Where is it? Work smarter, not harder. If you need minced garlic, just get one of these. Garlic press. Pop your garlic in, squeeze,
Slice.
and voila. Perfectly minced garlic. This is also another reason why a little extra garlic is always good, because you usually get some stuff that's just kind of stuck in there, doesn't like to mince properly. All right, there we are. Perfectly minced garlic. Done the not hard way. Work smarter, not harder, especially when you are on a heavy work schedule. You don't have enough time to really, spend manually mincing garlic. Take the shortcuts where you can find them. Because nothing's worse than coming home from work after a long day and having to take all the extra steps. So take shortcuts where you can. And that's another reason that HelloFresh is so great, because they pretty much already know that you don't have time for meal planning, you don't have time for a whole lot of prep, you don't have time to necessarily go to the store every day of the week to find ingredients for a good meal. So they just send it to you in a box, and they give you the instructions and make things really super easy, even for those who have a heavy work schedule. So
Rose says that they are gonna lurk 'cause dinner.
fair enough. All right, so our oven is now preheated to 450 degrees. We're gonna go ahead and throw in our potatoes on the top rack. If I can keep my foil down.
That was probably my bad, I'm sorry.
All right, and Siri, set a timer for 12 minutes. I'll actually try to remember to, toss the potatoes halfway through this time. Okay, so back to what we were doing. We need our drizzle of oil. Again, with my very disciplined oil spritzer, which was supposed to help me keep things a little more healthy. It failed. It failed me. All right, so a little bit of oil. Oh, at least keep everything together. All right, and we will start. Nice medium-high heat.
Lunandriel says, oh, and most of the recipes can be fully prepped and cooked within 30 to 40 minutes, which is also pretty convenient.
Yes, very much so. Because, you don't want to spend 2-3 hours. You don't basically want to make an entire Thanksgiving Day feast, every night that you come home. Granted, sometimes it is easier to, toss a TV dinner into the microwave oven, not gonna lie. but it's also not nearly as healthy. So this actually gets you healthy food on a fairly decent timetable budget, as well as a financial budget.
Lonadriel said a certain sister may have fallen prey to the Golden Galley advertising skills.
She did, and she enjoyed it. But sometimes the thing is, I mean, even I have to admit, sometimes I get kind of lost in the things that I'm making, and there are just days where I'll order food for the week and I'll be just like, you know what, I don't feel like it. But you know what's really great? I'm gonna show you a little secret. The materials freeze excellently. So you can just buy all this. I also like to keep my meats in the freezer until I'm pretty much the night before I'm gonna cook something, just to keep everything especially fresh. But also, I've separated everything out into little bags, you know, with all the extra ingredients, and even if something goes bad, you know, it's easier to replace one, like, you know, a bag of broccoli than it is to replace an entire meal. So, you know, hey, it all works out in the end.
Puzzle says, when I need to do something to a recipe halfway through, I set the timer for half the time, then toss or do whatever is needed, then set the timer for the other half so I don't forget.
That's the big part, not forgetting. All right, so let's go ahead and add our pork chops to our heated pan.
Ooh, you can hear that sizzle.
Yes, I love that sizzle.
I think that's like one of the best sounds any person who loves to cook could hear.
Oh, absolutely.
Or just loves food, let's be honest.
All right, so we'll just let that cook for a couple of minutes. And we'll have our tongs ready on standby. All right, so in the meantime, we have our next step. So let's go ahead and take a look at our next step. We cut broccoli into bite-sized pieces if necessary. I do need to do that to a couple of the pieces now that I think about it. But we're also going to toss them with a little bit of olive oil and another pinch of salt and pepper. Oh, excuse me, I've got the hiccup. So we'll go ahead and move our minced garlic to the side here.
Yeah, sorry, I'm over here. I want to be able to give you as much space.
Oh, that's fair. That is fair, and very much welcome. All right, so this was just used for holding potatoes.
Oh!
So.
Wait, I do not know how to pronounce this person's username.
How do you spell it?
ElyRha.
Ellie!
Ellie! They say Galley! Galley! Also, hi Puzzle, the best puzzle of all puzzles.
Indeed. All right, so we're just taking our larger pieces of broccoli here and just kind of cutting them into smaller pieces. We're actually going to cut that one a little smaller as well. Nice little bite-sized chunks. Of course, always mind your fingers when using a knife in the kitchen. I will admit I hold my knives very awkwardly because I'm not a pro chef. And that's half the point, is these are easy recipes that taste like, you know, chefs cooking without needing the skills to necessarily be a full-blown chef. So high-quality meals, high-quality health at home with a low, comparative low price. So I'm gonna be 100% full disclosure, of course. Like I said, my family and I, we have 5 meals a week for 4 people. And that honestly costs me about $200 a week. Now, if I go to, say, Albertsons or some other grocery store, and I get the exact same ingredients, I can easily spend $200 a meal. So, if I'm getting 5 meals for essentially the equivalent of the price of one, I'm all about that, because that is definitely a savings. So let's just continue to separate our broccoli here. Alright, let's take a break from the broccoli. Let's go ahead and go back and check on our pork chops, see how those are browning up. Alright, so let's go ahead. Oh yeah, that's coming. That's browning up real good.
That's got a nice. Super Markio came in and said, well, I came here to Gordon Ramsay you because I love ya. And Ellie says, a nice sizzles.
Alright, so that side is browned up nice and well. We'll let the other side cook for a couple of minutes there. And go back to preparing our broccoli in the meantime. So like I said, with the HelloFresh recipes, they make it really super easy. They put everything in, all the steps in order so that, again, hopefully everything comes out at pretty much the same time. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way because, again, sometimes cooking times vary by elevation or the quality of your stove. You know, sometimes older stoves especially don't always heat up to the correct temperature that they're supposed to. So sometimes there is some differences in your cooking times, but for the most part, they keep it pretty on point.
Based on what Chat has been saying, Ellie has said Puzzle should give Liberty a head pat when they aren't working. Puzzle said she gets all the head pats, and Markio said what she just said is a true statement. Also, never use a high setting on a gas stove. Zero bueno.
We're not going to talk about that. High seems to be the only setting my stove likes to cook on. No joke, I set it to low and it still feels like it's on high. But we're not going to talk about that.
You're actually paying attention to it, though. That is what Markio said.
Yes, that is true. I am keeping an ear and an eye out on my...
and a nose.
My pork chops.
Let's be honest, and the nose.
Did I drop one?
Yeah.
I probably dropped one. Oh well.
Galley, I'm not trying to backseat cook, but don't forget about your potatoes.
My alarm has not gone off yet, but thank you. I do appreciate the reminder. Greatly. I was smart. I did set an alarm on my watch for halfway through the required time.
She solved the food riddle.
All right. So.
80% visual, 20% auditory.
Oh yeah. And smell actually plays a great important role in cooking as well.
70% visual, 20% auditory, 10% smell.
Yes. Because trust me, you can smell when garlic is ready. It's so nice and fragrant. All right. Okay, got my hands all nice and rinsed.
0%. It can taste like dog crap, and I'll probably eat it.
Let's go ahead and check again on our pork chops.
Ooh. Okay.
Okay. Yep. Again, getting nice and brown.
That smells really good.
All right, just one last little touch on that side, but remember, we are going to be actually finishing these pork chops in the oven, so we don't want to actually make sure that they're fully cooked at this time. We just want to make sure they're nicely browned. So we'll go ahead. We'll suck at putting them on the foil here.
Markio says, Galley, you're making me so proud as a chef. Beautiful sear. And Ellie said that would be quite stinky.
Alright, we'll go ahead and tuck our pork chops over there. Alright. So, now we are going to just kind of get rid of these little globules. But we're not actually going to rinse out our pan at this time. We're just going to kind of get a couple of the bigger chunks of residual fat, but we're going to leave the browned bits in there for our sauce. Okay, so now we need to do the difficult part of tossing these. Broccoli is always a little difficult to toss with olive oil, I've noticed. It's a lot easier when it comes to like green beans or Brussels sprouts. Broccoli, because of how it likes to both absorb and
Shed.
simultaneously repel fluids. Don't ask me how that manages to happen, but it does. It makes it kind of a little more difficult to douse with olive oil. So we're just going to put a nice little drizzle. Going to let it kind of seep through, down through the layers of the broccoli.
At least it doesn't spontaneous decombust, so there's that, Markio
Sure.
states.
And I'm actually going to get a little creative here. We're going to make some room for this other bowl. And work smarter, not harder.
Nice.
Okay, so now that it's all coated with olive oil, we're going to bring it over to our pan. Oops.
That's a lot of broccoli.
Yeah. We're gonna scooch our pork chops over a little bit more and get some more room for our broccoli.
To combust or not to combust? That is the question.
And I did mention how the recipes like to make this as close to perfect as it can get. Guess what just went off? My halfway timer for the potatoes, right as we're putting the broccoli on the pan there. So talk about perfect timing, right? All right, so we'll let them just sit in the oven for a little bit longer while we put a little salt and pepper on our broccoli. There we are. All right, and now we will safely grab our oven mitts.
Roasted red potatoes and broccoli is the way.
So these are actually roasted golden potatoes rather than red, but correct, roasted red potatoes are amazing. All right, so we are going to grab our other set of tongs here. Don't mind the mess.
Meh, I'll give a pass.
And we're just kind of gonna toss them a little bit here, scoot them around. Oops, mess up the foil, as one does. All right, so now we'll spread those all back out again over the
Markio says,
sheet.
really good coloring going on there, extremely vibrant.
All right, so now those will go back in to the oven on the top rack. Come on, get in there. And our pork chops and our broccoli will go in on the bottom rack. I should say middle rack, but you know what I meant. Top, bottom, middle, it's all relative. Come on, get on my hook. Okay, so now we have, of course, put our broccoli and our pork into the oven as per step number 4. That's gonna take another about 12 to 15 minutes, which, again, going back to the timing, perfect timing with our potatoes. So let's go ahead and set a timer. Siri, set a timer for 15 minutes.
Markio says, I'm curious as to the times in these kits. I know you said variant factors can change things.
So, of course, if you live in like a high elevation, if you have an older stove, especially if you have by older I mean like 1950s, because some people do still have vintage and use vintage stoves. But these can all play a part in your cooking as well as your bakeware. For example, of course, metal pans transfer heat differently than ceramic or glass. So you always want to make sure that you have, of course, your right tools for the cooking that you're doing, as well as just keeping an eye and knowing what your equipment does. You may have to experiment if you're in a new place as to, how long things take. I think it took us like almost 2 weeks to really figure out how long it took to bake things in our oven when we first moved into this house. But yeah, there's just, there's always little small factors that can affect it. But it does usually stick pretty close to the recommended cooking time that they give you on these recipes. So 10 minutes for prep and 30 minutes for cooking. And so far, we're right on time for that.
Also, Markio said, I'd probably hard sear for a 4 or 5 minutes, 6 minutes tops, depending on the protein size, then lower temp oven.
There you are. Now, see, this one, of course, it's keeping it at a constant temperature because we are also, of course, doing our vegetables at the same time as our meat. But then, of course, it's also taking into the fact that the meat would have already started to cook a bit in the pan as we were doing the browning. Now, our recipe says to heat another small drizzle of oil in the pan that we used to brown the pork. So we'll just go ahead and throw that in there. That's going in the washer anyway.
Pro streams.
Pro stream, pro chef.
Markio says, I like that it sticks to a strict time structure. I can't stress enough to people to have everything done at the same time without timers. Not that it's a big deal to me, but it comes second nature.
Well, especially when you're cooking, multiple different parts for a family meal, nobody likes to have hot potatoes but cold pork chop, so making sure that everything comes out at roughly the same time is actually pretty important because, of course, the varying temperatures of your meal, if it's not intended, can actually affect, of course, how much you enjoy the meal. So I like that it ensures maximum enjoyability by making sure that the temperature profiles are at least close across the board. But we are going to, of course, now be making our sauce for our pork chops. We are here doing the drizzle of oil in the pan used for pork over a medium heat. We're going to add our minced garlic and our thyme. And again, cook until fragrant. So again, we were talking about how it's 70% visual, 20% auditory, and 10% smell. Well, even here in the instructions, it flat out specifies go by smell.
Markio says, also, didn't mean to hijack the chat, ...
Oh, no.
I'll go to my corner now.
Oh, not at all, not at all.
Actually, it's quite nice to read something.
I am not chef, so trust me, learning new things is always good. All right, so I'm gonna go by real quick. I need to grab 1/3 of a cup of water for our sauce.
Chef is here.
All right. We like to just use bottled water because our local tap water isn't the greatest. So, all right. So our oil is nice and hot. So we'll just go ahead and transfer our garlic in there. Again, a nice little sizzle. We have our dried thyme.
Shimmering oil, check. Sizzle, check.
All right, and we'll just kind of move all that around.
Oil into water? Kaboom!
Oh, the water is for, of course, our stock concentrates to help, of course, make the actual sauce. So we'll come off my spoon.
No. Nar.
Seasonings. All right, so I'm going to turn my heat down again while I prepare the rest of this. All right, it's already, of course, I'm sure Galley Kitten Marceline can confirm, it smells amazing. Didn't take long, smells nice and fragrant.
I was only kidding, but rule of thumb, never dump water into hot oil.
Luckily, the spices absorbed most of it, so. All right, there we are.
Galley, you haven't upgraded the stream to smell-o-vision yet.
I know, I'm sorry. Maybe one of these days. All right, so now I'm just adding in the stock concentrate packets into my herbs. And that is actually the reason why I made sure that I added my water before I added these, because I don't want my stock concentrate to stick to the bottom of my pan or start to burn. So even though, yes, adding water to hot oil is usually not a smart idea, if you want to maintain the flavor of your ingredients, sometimes it really is the safer option.
Duh, it's HelloFresh. I was about to ask if it was locally sourced honey.
So the honey that we have is not, but I do have actually locally sourced honey in my house. Because honey, especially if it is locally sourced by local farmers in your area, is actually really good for if you have allergies, especially seasonal in your area. But make sure it is the actual fresh stuff at like a farmer's market, not the processed stuff, because that makes sure that all of the local pollens and everything are still present in the honey. All right, so we're just gonna kind of stir this around, kind of blend everything together. And I do need to add the honey, so give me a second here.
Honey, honey, honey. Honey!
Yum, that golden gooey goodness.
It's also great for when you're sick.
Yes, yes, because of honey's antibacterial properties.
Honey, the great thickener.
All right, there we are. All right, so now we'll just incorporate all that into our sauce. All right, so like I said, I turned my heat on low just to make sure nothing will burn, but I am going to turn this back up now to a medium-high heat.
Honey and ginger. Whenever I am sick, I make a sort of broth out of fresh honey and ginger, Markio says.
Yeah, honey, ginger, and lemon. I love a little bit of lemon in there as well.
Also goes great on chicken.
Yes.
Actually, speaking of chicken, and as Galley has stated before, they also gave you the option to swap it out for chicken instead of pork.
If, for example, you can't eat pork because of dietary or religious preventatives, they do give you options. So you aren't just locked in to what they offer. They do give you a little bit of choice in what they have. And again, as I mentioned, they usually have anywhere from at least 30 to upwards of sometimes 50 different recipes each week that you can select from.
Markio's like, perhaps I am HelloFresh. Ha ha!
Alright, so I'm just constantly stirring this, making sure it doesn't burn, making sure it's all evenly heated. And what we're doing is we're just waiting for the sauce to reduce and thicken a little bit, which it is slowly starting to get there. We'll go ahead and kind of tilt the pan here. And as you can see, it is getting slightly thicker.
Markio also says, also massive cheers for using a wooden spoon and not destroying your pan.
Well, you can actually give props to Verk for that one. He actually is usually the family chef. He has more skills than I do. But most people would usually say that I had about as much skill to make water burn. But that, again, even somebody like me who has very little experience in the kitchen can make an amazing meal with no problem at all. So again, we're gonna check our sauce. Yeah, that's looking nice. Nice thickness there, not watery. We're gonna go ahead and transfer that to a little ramekin.
Yay, Verk! Where the heck is that man?
He is currently playing Fallout New Vegas, and I don't blame him.
I thought he was playing Civs.
He may have. Last I saw, he was playing Fallout New Vegas. He may be playing Civs. All right, so we've transferred our sauce. Let's go ahead and get our pan out of the way. We don't want to actually run hot water in it or run any water in it right now. We just want to set it out of the way of where we are currently working.
Oh, Verk. Markio states.
All right, so now we are literally just kind of waiting. I want to check my timer here. We've still got about 4 minutes left. So let's go ahead and take a quick moment to, of course, clean up our space. Make sure that things we don't need are put away. We'll go ahead and move our salt and pepper to our table, just in case anybody, of course, wants a little extra. Now, it's always best to try to clean up as you go because nobody likes a big pile of dishes in their sink at the end of the night. So when you have a little moment like this, take some time. Rinse out things that you can.
Markio says, I missed Galley and Verk. I've been gone a long time. Yes, golden rule. You leanin', you cleanin'.
To be fair, in our house, we do have the rule of if you cooked, you usually don't clean, just so that we have equal balance of responsibilities in the household. But if you have the moment and the time, take it. Use it. Help out. Clean.
Make it easier.
Make it easier on everybody.
Including yourself in the long run.
I need to figure out why
That totally makes sense though. I recently got a few private chef gigs and I went to clean up for the families and they said, bro, you cooked.
extra bits of garlic husk out of there. We don't need those. We definitely don't need those in our dishwasher. Alright. Actually, I'm going to juggle things apparently. Put that under there for safekeeping. Go. All right, the pan itself is still a little too hot to really run some water through it this time. So we'll just leave that to sit for a little bit longer. All right, there we go, put the knife there. And okay, we are about a minute out. We've got one more dish to wash. There's always more. They spring up like weeds, dishes do.
And then the kids come out with their entire depression supply.
Right?
And they're like, that's where all our glasses and bowls went to. Yeah, I got sad and wanted ice cream and cookies. And milk.
We'll just put that in there and be rinsed here in a minute. We'll set our tongs. Meow. Hi, Jack. Jack is wanting some of our delicious food tonight, but there is garlic in it,
baby.
Sauce, so we can't, Jack.
I can't give you any of the... No, you can't have it.
Garlic is toxic to kitties.
It's my depression supply, okay? But I am stealing the next time someone gives me crap about my 2 a.m. cheesecake and cookies and candy. It's a kitty! Jack is adorable. He is my best boy.
All right. Perfect timing. Our timer just went off. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we have going on in the oven.
Kitty says, smells good. When do we eat?
Pretty much.
He eats whenever he pleases.
All right. So let's go ahead and take out our pork chops and broccoli first. There we are. Nice and steaming, cooked on the broccoli, a little bit of browning. Not too much, we don't want burnt broccoli. And then our potatoes. All right, let's go ahead and turn off our oven. We no longer need that.
Markio says, looks wonderful. Are you going to cross-section a piece of pork to show the inside?
Absolutely. Give me just a moment. Make sure I've got my plates for serving. All right, So let's go ahead and pull our cutting board back out and our rinsed knife.
Yay, Markio says.
All right, let's go ahead, grab this, grab our tongs, and we'll grab a nice pork chop here. And we'll use the tongs as a temporary fork here. All right, so let's go ahead and cut through the pork. And there we are, nice and cooked in the center, nice and white, no pink, full of delicious flavor. And as you can still see though from the glisten, not dry, it's still nice and flavorfully moist.
Markio says, I have such a deep passion and appreciation for food, and I never get to see cross-sections on streams. Bam! I'll take my chicken cutlet mid-rare, haha.
All right, so we've got our pork chop. Let's go ahead and grab some broccoli.
Puzzle says, this looks delicious, hops in the next TARDIS.
Nice healthy helping of broccoli. And we'll then also put some potatoes on our plate.
Pays for the next TARDIS.
All right. So now I just need a spoon real quick for our sauce.
I'm also grabbing forks for...
So we'll go ahead and take our sauce here and just put a nice little drizzle right across there.
I love those clear plates, Markio says.
There we are. And voila! Let's take this over to the table. One finished Hello Fresh meal of honey thyme pork chops with roasted potatoes and roasted broccoli.
Markio says, 10 out of 10 would eat, and Renegade said that they are still alive.
All right, so real quick, let me grab a knife.
Only I'd Parmesan those taters and broccoli.
Right? A little, again, like the cutting board. I find your lack of cheese disturbing.
And Puzzle says I would totally eat this.
All right, so let's go ahead and taste today's meal and see exactly how we fared. We're gonna start with the broccoli. Again, this was merely cooked in the oven with a little bit of olive oil, salt, and pepper. The salt really brings out the green leafy taste and texture of the broccoli, but it's still crisp, warm, definitely cooked through, but still a little bit of that delightful crunch.
And Markio says that cheese joke was, dare I say, cheesy.
All right, let's go ahead and taste our potatoes. Again, just roasted in the oven with a little bit of olive oil, salt, and pepper.
And Markio says, simple seasoning, don't have to go overboard with the McCormick crap.
Again, really just brings out the flavor of the potato without being overwhelming. Again, like Markio commented, simple seasonings are frequently the best. The potatoes have a nice, I wouldn't say crispy skin so much on the outside, but definitely a nice, soft, squishy middle. I would say the outside's definitely a little more, let's just call it firm. It's firm without being crispy, but the inside is nice and soft and delightfully flavorful.
As the pros say, simple food cooked simply.
All right, let's go ahead and try our pork. Let's make sure we get a nice piece with a lot of sauce. Again, honey thyme pork chops, browned in a pan and then finished in the oven.
Oh man, I want roast potatoes now, Renegade states.
Perfectly cooked, not dry, still nice and moist and tender. The sweetness of the honey helps offset the bite of the thyme. And then of course you can still taste, you can't really taste a lot of it, but you can taste just a hint of the chicken stock in there, which gives it a nice rich flavor combined with the garlic. Absolutely an amazing meal, fairly easy to prepare, and again, you really can't beat the price on these boxes. If you really want to join, again, I have loved these guys for over a year. It's really helped my budget, helped me feed my family healthier foods on a regular basis. And right now they are running a promotion where if you do subscribe to the service, you will get free breakfast items in every box that you get for the length of your subscription. And you can't, their breakfast items are just as good as their preparable meals. So I just want to thank you all so much for being here tonight. I do, of course, want to finish the rest of my dinner, but once we are done, I will actually be coming back to the channel for some more actual gaming content, so I hope you guys won't go too far. I hope you will join me in enjoying HelloFresh's culinary delights, and I hope that I will also see you on the next adventure. Thanks for being with us, and I'll see you next time.